It's time for your daily LSU baseball update with Musso at the box. Now, Matt Musso.
Off and running. Welcome in another edition of Musso at the Box, presented by Gotlit Light Installers. Whew! What a weekend for the boys in purple and gold. The Tigers roll up to Norman, sweep Oklahoma in a top 10 series on the road, run their record to 30-3, 10-2 in the SEC, 8 straight victories, and LSU never trailed in this series. They used 5 pitchers and didn't give up an earned run. The depth of the lineup was on full display. Like, for a weekend where LSU didn't, rip the cover off the ball, put up a bunch of runs. When you look up, LSU scored 15 runs over the entire weekend, but not really at any time over the course of the 3 games did you look at them at the plate and go, man, they're out of character. They're not doing what they need to be doing up at the plate. They're not locked in. LSU played to the conditions in that ballpark for 3 days offensively, just to another level. I thought it was magnificent. And on top of that, you pitched to the conditions in that ballpark flawlessly as well, specifically in game number 3 on Saturday. We obviously have a ton to go through because there was some history made as well throughout that weekend up in Norman for LSU to boot. They were great. So smash the like button if you have not already. Get subscribed up to the podcast on YouTube and on your favorite podcast app. Just search Musso at the Box. Hit that subscribe button. Please share. That's always appreciated. You can follow me on social media. And let's go ahead and dive right in. So, look, the weekend gets off to an awesome start. If you're LSU, Cade Anderson, the complete game shutout, 135 pitches. We talked about that extensively on Thursday night in our immediate recap, so we're not going to dive too much more into that. But what Cade did, he not only set the tone for the entire weekend, but, he put you in the position to do what you did. Him going complete game, shut piece, dominant, 14 strikeouts, career high. He saved everything for you and really put you in that position to be able to use 5 pitchers, which is absurd. So he was great. You scratch across 2 runs and you win that game. Fast forward to Saturday again. We covered this one pretty extensively. LSU, 4 spot in the second, 4 spot in the 9th. Ultimately, you get the 10-2 win. You end up with 3 home runs. I thought Anthony Ianson was phenomenal as well. Walks a little bit high, 4 of them in the game, but he had a long gap in between those. But 4 walks, a bit out of character for him, but he got you into the 6th inning for the 2nd week in a row. Remember, he faced a batter in the 6th against Mississippi State, walked him, and then was pulled. But he got you into the 6th inning for a 2nd week in a row. This time almost got you through. That was great to see. I have some more thoughts on him in totality as we go along here. And then Casey Evans was absolutely phenomenal. 3 1/3 shutout, just the 2 hits, punched out 5. And then you turn it over to Chase Shores. And Chase Shores was also very good. On Saturday in game 2. Again, a little bit high of a walk total, but he did a great job keeping everything small. Did Chase Shores. Then you turn it over to Zach Cowan. He goes the final 4, gives up an unearned run, but punches out 4 more. You were great. You look up at using 5 pitchers to win a top 10 series on the road. And y'all, that's loud. Like, that is loud. And I don't want to dismiss what Zach Cowan and Casey Evans did because, again, those 2 gave you 7 1/3. They punched out 9, only walked 2, and they gave up 1 unearned run on 4 hits. Like, they are awesome. But what's crazy about it is I sit here and I'm like, yeah, okay. Like, it's expected from those 2 at this point. And while I still want others to emerge in that bullpen, and while I still think you need others to emerge in that bullpen, this formula of shortening the game and getting those 2 in as quickly as you can has worked wonders. I don't believe it's sustainable for a run all the way through June because I think eventually those guys are going to tire out. I mean, you look at Case and Evans, 10 appearances, 23 and a third. Zach Cowan, 11 appearances, 29 and a third. Each of them respectively in conference play. Cowan's already pitched 14 and a third. Evans is at 13 and a third. The fatigue is going to set in. Maybe not for Cowan as much as a guy like Case and Evans. In his freshman season, he's going to throw the most innings he's ever thrown in his life here this season. So you need a couple others to emerge to kind of take some of that off of him. But y'all, if it ain't broke, don't fix it right now. And it ain't broke. And it was very obvious what LSU was going to try to do after that Texas weekend. You saw both of them extend, shorten the game, get them in, and let them go. And that's what they've done. But in the meantime, what you've seen is acceleration from your starting pitching. And this is why I was like, man, I don't want to just cast aside what Case and Evans and Zach Cowan did. But for me, the story of the weekend is your starting pitching. They were really good against Mississippi State. Anderson struggled, gave up the 5 earned, but he did a great job, kept you in the game, kept it small. The bounce back that he had, you're not going to have a louder bounce back than what he did. Complete game, shutout, 135 pitches. He's got an extra day's rest. You expect him to be full bore, ready to go on the road at Auburn again on Friday. But it was the other two that are so encouraging coming off of this weekend up in Norman, where we chronicled it with Anthony Ianson, y'all. He wasn't pitching horribly at all early in the year, early in conference play. They were bringing him along. They had some things they wanted. He got you into the 6th inning a week ago, but gave you 5 great innings with no earned runs in it. And now it's okay. Can he take the next step? And boy, did he. He was awesome. Once he found a feel for that curveball in the 2nd inning, he was awesome. You saw the changeup mixed in. The fastball was as strong and as pinpoint as ever. And he gets you deeper into the game, gets you into the lineup, and almost threw it for a 3rd time again. And they made the judgment call to go to the bullpen when they did. But I don't know how you can't look at the last 2 outings from Anthony Ianson and feel great. Not good, not okay, not solid, great about him as your number 2 going forward here in SEC play. And I'm going to come back to that. Then you go to Chase Shores. And Chase Shores taking the comebacker off the eye in game 3 against State shortened that outing because he was in a really, really good spot in that ball game. And he only gets you 4, but man, you could see it. It got away from him a little bit there in the 2nd inning against State, but he bounced. The bounce back in the 3rd and the 4th were great. Okay, that was him taking steps. Now could he build off of it this week? And boy, did he. Again, the 4 walks ran the pitch count up a little bit, but none of them really hurt you. All he did was give up the 1 unearned run, and it was a bummer because it's a passed ball. If Hernandez keeps it in front of him and everything plays out in that inning the same way that it did on within the next 2 pitches, he had retired the hitter. And you look up and he's thrown shutout ball for you at that point. The slider has looked more crisp, and that's increasing the value of that 98-mile-per-hour sinker. I think even saw a changeup or 2 in there from Shores. He's starting to take steps in the right direction. And it could not come at a better time. Chase Shores, at the end of it, you look up at his line, 5 innings, unearned run, 3 hits, 4 walks, but punched out 4, and threw 85 pitches. I think he had more in the tank. If you have a little bit bigger of a lead, if you're not just up 2 runs with Zach Cowan fresh in the bullpen, you see Chase Shores continue in that ball game. And I think that's something you can look toward later this year, maybe even this upcoming weekend against Auburn. And that's really, really encouraging. But I'll tell you the thing about LSU's not just their starting rotation, but their pitching in general this weekend, but with a focus in on the starting rotation, they made pitches when they absolutely had to. And more often than not, it was strikeouts. Remember the first inning for Cade Anderson, loads the bases, 1 out, strikeout, strikeout. Later in that game, leadoff double, strikeout, strikeout, strikeout. Anthony Ianson, man, same deal for Anthony Ianson. You mean that first inning, Oklahoma mounts another threat, fly out, strikeout, and that's the meat of that order. Then again, I believe it was in his 5th inning where, yes, the 5th inning, you have walk, and now you're facing Carmichael and Willits, the 2 best hitters in that lineup, fly out, fly out. Chase Shores did the same exact thing in game number 3. And that is what is so encouraging about this from those pitchers. I mean, again, you have that pass ball, strikeout, though. And he was ahead in the count the majority of that inning. And you keep going for him throughout. You know, you look at it, leadoff single in the bottom of the 4th, double play. That's what they did. That's how they were able to get deep into those ball games. And when you look up, you see 19 and 2/3 innings, 11 hits, 0 earned runs, 10 walks, 26 Ks, 1 complete game, 3 wins. All of them got the win. This is happening at the perfect time. You face Auburn this upcoming weekend. That is the halfway point in SEC play. And right now, your starting rotation is clicking. Or at least it's starting to click. And that sets you up for a great back half once you get through Auburn. Because that's where the competition is really going to ratchet up. You have Tennessee. You have Arkansas. You have to go to A&M, who just took 2 out of 3 in Knoxville. So to have them clicking and seemingly hitting their stride right now, that's exactly where you want to be. In terms of the unearned run aspect for LSU, prior to Saturday, credit Todd Politz here, there were 2 instances since 1992 when LSU did not allow an earned run over a 3-game stretch. Both of them were in 2013. This team continues to draw parallels to the 2013 team. And I have told y'all, that is one of my favorite LSU teams in history. And for my money, in my opinion, it is the best LSU team to not win a national championship, even surpassing 2017. That 2013 team was absolutely dominant. And this team shows the exact kind of same signs. I think this team's a little bit better offensively, and I think that team was better on the mound. But there are parallels that I'm going to get into here momentarily about, or not say about, with those 2 teams, and it gets me really, really, really excited. Because we've been able to draw comparisons here a lot lately, especially with the start. I mean, you're off to the best start in the program since that year in SEC and overall. And it worked out really well for that team overall and in the conference. Before we do that, I want to talk about the offense over the weekend at Oklahoma. But before we do that, I have to remind you about Gotlit Light Installers. GotLitLights.com. Permanent outdoor landscape lighting, front yard, backyard, home, business, flower beds, patio, anything you need, permanent outdoor landscape lighting from Gotlit. How do you want to illuminate your landscape? Well, here's what you do. You figure that out first and foremost. You get your idea. You bring it to the folks at Gotlit. Derek and his team, they will work with you, custom design, meet your specifications, and then they install. They also maintain. Gotlit Light Installers, GotLitLights.com. Temporary outdoor lighting for private events, weddings, wedding receptions, anniversary parties, birthday parties, graduation parties. Those are right around the corner. You're throwing a party for your grad, you need some lights, Gotlit Lights, only place for you. Gotlit Light Installers, GotLitLights.com. Tell them you heard it right here on Musso at the Box. All right. LSU, game 1, 2 runs, 6 hits. All those off Kyson Witherspoon. Game 2, 10 runs, 15 hits. Game 3, 3 runs, 6 hits. But what LSU did extremely well was keep the ball below the wind. And when they had a shot to drive it, they drove it. The doubles from LSU this weekend really, really stand out, especially from the bottom of your order, which we will get to. But not only that, just the manufacturing of runs as well. Whether it's bunting and moving guys over, taking advantage of just about every opportunity that was presented to them. And y'all, that's what you have to do when you're playing in that kind of weather. That looked so damn miserable out there on Saturday. Like, that looked like it sucked for everyone involved. And it honestly felt like a day, like when LSU was up 3-1, you felt like they were up 4-5, 5-6-1. Because, I mean, Derek Curiel was damn near a fifth infielder in that game. He was playing so shallow and left. There was just no threat of the ball getting over the outfielders' heads, really. But what was awesome was LSU set a tone early in that game in the field with the sliding catch by Curiel and the great leaping catch into the wall and right by Jake Brown. And then offensively, in that second inning, perfect example. You have a leadoff walk, fielder's choice, advances your runner, walk. Then you get the gift, but Curiel putting the ball in play, the value of not striking out. And that's something that LSU did incredibly well this series as well, especially against the frontline pitching. LSU punched out 4 times against Kyson Witherspoon. That is otherworldly. Against Malachi Witherspoon, same deal. LSU punched out, just 4 times. They were in every at-bat. They were competitive in every at-bat. And the length of the lineup showed itself. The bottom of your order is the story in this ball game. And not just this ball game, in this series. But Saturday's game in particular. Because when you look at it, Hernandez, Reeves, Stanfield, they scored all 3 of your runs. And that led to a really big day for Derek Curiel, who didn't have a huge weekend average-wise, but he drove in 4 runs in the top of your order. In fact, the bottom of your order scored all 3 runs on Saturday. Derek Curiel drove in all 3 runs on Saturday. But when you look at Hernandez and Stanfield, Hernandez in your 7-hole, Stanfield in your 9, each of them hit 500 over the course of this weekend. Each of them hit 3 doubles over the course of this weekend, and Stanfield drove in 5 runs from the 9-hole. So you look at this, your 9-hole and your leadoff collected 9 RBI out of the 15 runs that you scored over the weekend in Norman. That is also loud. I mean, I can't think of anything that shows the length of the lineup better than that. And we've talked about it plenty all year. But that's incredible. And you know what? Sometimes timing really, really just works out. That we had that conversation earlier in the week about Luis Hernandez, him being an X factor in this lineup. But damn it, didn't he show that again? Luis Hernandez, after hitting 500 against Oklahoma, is now tied for LSU's second leading hitter in conference play. Hernandez is hitting 340 in SEC play. He still leads you in homers and slugging percentage there as well. And now he's tied for 3rd in RBI. That guy has turned it on. It has clicked for him at the right time. And he's a weapon for you down in the 7-hole. Like, I am not moving him at all. Because even if you have a little bit of a rough start through your first 6, you have that guy waiting in the 7-hole. And that is just freakish. That is freakish. And because of the 340 in conference play, he's now got his average up over 300 on the season, 310. Think of how he started. It was rough. But he has just turned it on and been incredible. Chris Stanfield is now your leading hitter in SEC play, hitting 375. In large part to what he did this weekend. And then, of course, you know, on Friday night, we talked about Josh Pearson. The guy didn't have an at-bat for literally an entire week. Game 2 against State, which was a Friday. And he's inserted back in the lineup Friday against Oklahoma. All he does is hit 2 home runs. It's an embarrassment of riches. It's an incredibly lengthy lineup where you're running 9 300 hitters out there, which is just unheard of. That is unheard of. You're hitting 300 in conference play, and you're hitting 330 as a team overall in the year. Everything about this LSU offense is loud. Meanwhile, Jared Jones hits 357, and that looks like a down weekend, right? It's absurd. That's one of the things that has stood out so much. It's been different guys, it seems like, each weekend stepping up, whether it's Ethan Fry, whether it's Josh Pearson, Hernandez, Stanfield, Curiel Jones, like Dickinson. It hasn't been the same group every time. This weekend, it was the bottom of your lineup. You talk about something that's sustainable. Oh, that's sustainable. All right. That's just an embarrassment of riches. A few more thoughts on this team compared to 2013. Before I get too deep into the woods there, the history that was made this weekend in Oklahoma. Derek Curiel, again, hat tip to Todd Polites. Derek Curiel has now passed Mike Fontenot and set the LSU freshman record for reached base streak. 33 straight games. Pardon me. 33 straight games for Derek Curiel. That is an LSU freshman record, passing Mike Fontenot. And he's in great company. Alex Bregman in, guess what year? 2013. Reached base 31 straight times. Curiel's passed that. Dylan Cruz in his freshman year, 20 straight times. Todd Walker, 23. And Jason Williams, he didn't stink, 23. Derek Curiel surpassed them all at 33. And just a major tip of the hat. That kid has been so incredible. He has not missed a beat once the calendar is flipped to SEC play. He has been incredible. You've even seen some power that's starting to develop from him, but his ability to use the entire field. He's been a rock-solid glove out in left for you. Derek Curiel on the season has not committed an error. That guy is steamrolling toward National Freshman of the Year. Steamrolling. In fact, Perfect Game last week named him the midseason National Freshman of the Year. He is steamrolling towards that award. And I wanted to start there because that is one of the major similarities from this team to 2013. You have that superstar freshman. You had Alex Bregman. And Bregman won the Brooks Wallace Award that year as the best shortstop in America as a freshman. And now you have Derek Curiel, and Bregman hit 3-hole all year for you there. Derek Curiel's hitting leadoff for you virtually all season. For the better part of a month, that's where he's been in this lineup. So there's a similarity. You got a freshman in the top 3 who is just steamrolling toward national awards and setting records in the process. There's one. You have a lineup, and remember, in 2013, you were still dealing with some crappy bats, but you have a lineup that has multiple guys throughout that can leave the yard and one main power source in Jared Jones. Same deal you had in 2013, where Mason Katz hit 16 bombs that year, but you had a couple guys, you had 3 other guys with 6 throughout your lineup, you had another guy with 4. Again, keep in mind the bats, but you compare that to this season. And Jones has 11, but you have Dickinson with 8, a couple guys with 5, a couple guys with 6. It's power throughout your lineup. It's a threat. The other thing that team in 2013 did great offensively that you do as well, they didn't strike out a lot. But that was true of a lot of Palmetary teams. Then you get to the pitching staff. You have an ace. Boy, did you have an ace on that team. In 2012, that was Aaron Nola. Or excuse me, in 2013, that was junior Aaron Nola. Junior year Aaron Nola. No, I'm sorry, sophomore year Aaron Nola. Excuse me, sophomore year. So, Cade Anderson's great. He's not Nola, but he's great. You have that frontline arm that you need, but it's what you have behind it that really reminds me of 2013. Anthony Ianson can absolutely be Ryan Eads. Ryan Eads went 8-1. 8-1 in 2013 had a sub-3 ERA. But Eads was no slouch. He had a great breaking ball and a fastball that got up to 95. He was a second-round pick and played in the big leagues. Anthony Ianson can absolutely be that. So you have that 1-2 punch. But then it's Chase Shores. Chase Shores, Cody Glenn. Remember Cody Glenn in 2013? As steady as you could get for a number 3. Made 15 starts, went 7-3 with a sub-3 ERA as well. I mean, y'all look at this rotation. Like, here are your records from that team in the rotation. Nola 12-1, Eads 8-1, Glenn 7-3. You compare that to where you are this season. Anderson 6-0, Ianson 5-0, Shores 5-1. You actually might have a better 1-2-3. I think you do have a better 1-2-3 than you did that year. The difference is the bullpen on that team far and away outperforms this one up to this point. But the similarity you have is you have the shutdown guy at the back end. In this case, you have the shutdown guys. But that 2013 team, you had Chris Cotton and 16 saves. Right now, Evans and Cowan have combined for 10 saves on the year. So you have that shutdown factor at the back end. You have the 3 starters, the shutdown factor. You have the standout freshman, the power throughout the lineup with one guy who's the main threat. And what you lack a little bit on the mound, you make up for an offense. And what that team lacked a little bit in offense, they made up for on the mound. That team ended up in Omaha at 57-9. They went 23-7 in the SEC. The problem is they went 0-2 in Omaha, and that's what this team will try to surpass. But you look at those teams side by side, and there are a lot of similarities. And that gets me excited. And you're to a point now in the league schedule that you can go, okay, wow. Because again, this marks the halfway point with Auburn up next. That's your 5th one. You're past the halfway mark in the season. You're about to be past the halfway mark in conference play. And they're pacing like one of the greatest teams. The other thing that you had is that you have and that team had is guys that can extend in the bullpen. You know, Chris Cotton got you 46 1/3 innings that year. Nick Rumbelow pitched 32 1/3. Brent Bonvillain pitched 50 innings out of the bullpen. He led the team in innings out of the bullpen. 21 appearances. He also had 6 starts. But he was really good. Joey Bourgeois, 32 innings, right? So, I mean, you had the guys that could extend, and you have that here on this team as well. Their depth in the pen just showed off better than your depth has so far. You're in really good company with those 2013 Tigers. And we'll see if you can keep it going. That team lost the series too. They lost the series at home to South Carolina. LSU's got one on the board as well on the road at Texas, who just took 2 out of 3 from Georgia, and that was loud as well. When you look at the spot that this team is in, they are trending up toward the back end of SEC play, and that's just really encouraging. You'll be in solo 2nd place in the SEC after 4 weeks. You're at 30-3. You have another tough road series coming up with Auburn, who just took 2 out of 3 took 2 out of 3 from Alabama. But your arrow is pointing up. It's crazy because it still feels like LSU maybe hasn't played their best baseball yet. And that, again, is very, very exciting. Great weekend. Great weekend for LSU. You have given yourself plenty of margin for error now in the SEC, and that's awesome. So take it and go. But more than that, just keep stacking W's. LSU will face Nichols in the midweek. Make the trip down to Thibodeau. It's the makeup game from the Freeze. We'll have a full preview of that for you here on Musso at the Box. Y'all smash the like button, get subscribed, like, share, all of those things. It's greatly appreciated. And be here next time for more. It's Musso at the Box, presented by Got Lit Light Installers.